Supreme afternoon. I think we fall away from a lot of the old concepts of religion just to solidify it to where it serves us purposely. And excuse me, we can't forget how these things were said and the little things that were put in the biblical aspects to discern from particular understandings. Now, the only reason why I'm going this way is because you can't separate history from religion. You just can't do it, no matter if you want to or not. Like, you got to understand the potential. And one of the things that people say in the Bible is they say, don't go on your own understanding, right? Why was that even put into motion? Who said that? Who said don't go on your own understanding? And why was that a fortuitive? Because that was brought to you. Divine didn't say that. That was brought to you by man. And if that was brought to you by man, how could man go on their own particular understanding about divine? And we're talking about the lesser quality of man that speaks to this understanding, but yet everybody gravitate to it. Which God are you serving? Because despite the iniquities that are spoken about the fallen and the Father, the divine creator of all things that do not come to this plane of existence, and the fallen, the Son of God. And then this energy gets usurped in a contrastal value to say that there's two beings that exist. There's Jesus and it's the devil. And then they like to change time around and say, well, this says this and this says that. Well, also there's text that said when other beings of high qualities came down to earth, whether that was fallen beings or particular understandings that had to do with just higher retrospects of beings, it still was being visualized from a particular understanding, right? This is people looking out, documenting this stuff, right? Everything biblical was wrote in a curse form. Before it was made as a religion, it was talismans and tablets. And these were word placements for particular energy that exists for particular beings. If you tell something to your kid, that's not for everybody else's kid. You might impression it on somebody else's kid, but ultimately they're gonna have to check with their parents about certain shit, right? So where am I going with this? Why am I coming at it like this? Well, there's a script that was spoken about when the time of the earth was going through turmoil out of its false understanding of a belief. This is way before now. This is when at the time where the world was going to shit because of its false understanding of a belief. That was 333 that popped up when I started this part. What they're speaking to is when divine actually released pure versions of the divine light back into the world to bring balance to this false understanding. So it was a scenario I wanted to explain to y'all earlier, but it kind of eludes me right at the moment. It'll come back to me. I ain't gonna sit there and try to think about it. It'll come back to me. But divine don't make mistakes. People do. And people constantly make mistakes just to keep correcting them. So what I see right now is through iniquity, slavery, and impression, death, murder, torture, rape, and pillage, people have actually gravitated to the pretense that was laid. You have literally gravitated to it, and now it has become your doctrine. It is how you receive divine knowledge. It's how you look at it. You even speak to divine as if the terms you're using through this religion is divine. You literally are still calling out names of these particular values. the disrespect, the defilation. Now let's keep in mind the art of understanding divine was created through defilation. They would defile the name of the Most High. This has been forever up until like what? Still in defiance to the divine pretense. It's been like that up until what? 2020? And people are really just starting to wake up the last 2 years? Literally. So, what are we speaking to right now? What are we talking towards? When you are dealing with divine directly, you are alleviating yourself from the values of dealing with the flesh. You know, it was funny to me one day. I was sitting there listening to a homeboy of mine. We was riding around or whatever. Well, I guess he was my homeboy. Probably not no more because whatever. But I was riding with him one day, and him and his friend was talking about having sex out of marriage. You know what I'm saying? And they were talking about doing things in different places. You know what I'm saying? But then they also claim to be spiritually endowed, or the one individual did claim to have a divine pretense, but he deals in worldly actions. I used to be like that. I would, a girl I see, I'm going to holler, I'm going to talk to her, whatever. Personally wanting to satisfy myself, not even looking at the aspect of, fortuitive growth with the individual. I was like that. But this was some time ago. I've dedicated myself to being loyal to whoever I'm dealing with over the last, I'll be 44 tomorrow. So over the last 10 years, I've been dedicating myself just to being a better person. As far as my choices, being loyal to my choices, being loyal to people I choose to be in my life, being loyal to the value of any concept that I chose, I spoke on, I'm going to stand on that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So if I make a contract with a female, I'm going to stand on that contract. Divine puts this in motion so therefore you can see past the fleshly understanding or the fleshly aspect of how you would want to serve particular energies. It's not for you to discern divine. It's for you to separate from the flesh that divine is trapped in. So this is a question. Who are you serving? Who do you think you're serving? Because we keep using the subsequent value that without this, without that, you can't do this, that, and the third. Well, I thought with divine, you could do anything. I thought that was the faith. So if with divine, you could do anything, how is it a retrospective saying without this and without that, I can't even serve God or even go to war? To believe that you are no more than what you are consistent of here, it sells the creator short. For you to put the creator in subsequent values of human concept, of time frame, and reality defiles the name of the Most High. Be mindful with your level of disrespect, because this right here is man's mind. This is not divine. And when you are thinking in your own way, giving out particular knowledge to people opposed to the value of what truly divine represents, and that is the light. The sun, listen, I've watched the sun burn grass and give life to other things right next to it. That means whatever this grass was placed or whatever the weeds was placed, they couldn't handle the particular energy and they burned up. Divine is all omnipotent, the most powerful source that will ever be known or unknown. There is nothing that's concepted in the reality of existence that can't be completed or accomplished at that moment with divine. What stops it from being accomplished? Well, what ultimately stops it is how much you can believe in this to be a reality. You believe more in your flesh. You get cut, you're going to bleed. That pain will go through your nervous system. The body is real, okay? The body feels. But for you to be able to rise your concept of reality above this concept of the physical feeling allows you to accept divine in its highest form and pretense. This is when things start to get a little more different. This is when people who are bound by the flesh can't perceive the levels of divinity. Bound by the flesh mean all your decisions are based off of such. And you won't choose lack thereof of anything else, because this is where your reality lays. It can't go no further than that as your ceiling. That is your ceiling. This is something that we have in the high level conscious community. We call breaking through. It's a breakthrough when you actually break out of this body. And your body's still alive, but you're able to rise your consciousness and break through it. It's a high-pitched sound that actually does this. And when your high-pitched sound breaks your spirituality or your spirit out of your body is still alive. It may go to sleep for a moment, but you can break the bond that holds your spirit inside the body, and you will fly out straight through the top of your head. And it'll be a tunnel that you will rise up through, and you will go where divine is. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. Anybody can do this. You can tap into it. And a lot of people ain't mentally, conceptually ready for this particular understanding. You wouldn't know what you're looking at when you've seen these things. You would have to have put some time of understanding them. It gets real deep because there's a lot I want to say, but I can't keep giving y'all all the shit without you putting the work in. So understand who you're praying to when you're talking about divine. Understand what you're saying when you're talking about divine. People gonna still go against this reality because, not for nothing, you can't look past anything that's fleshly. You're not gonna be able to rise past the fleshly understanding. Like, you're always gonna concept that reality as a particular, like it's deemingly fit for divine, which is a force of energy. And if divine was ever to step here or bring the pure divine energy here, everything in existence would just dissipate. It would, because it's too hot. It's too hot. And you have a piece of that inside of you. That piece you had inside of you can rise or shrink. It can get bigger or smaller. It depends on you. I ain't gonna hold you because I'm going into 13 minutes right now. I gotta edit this, you know what I'm saying? And my phone can't hold much space. And I gotta delete some shit just to make this video happen. But try to concept what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Go higher and above and beyond past the reality and respect divine again. So therefore you can feel this true knowledge. Because everybody been taught bullshit their whole life, regardless of how well it has performed on the demonic aspect of your physical awareness. NAGA.